Hi, I'm John.
Hi, I'm Nick.
To say hi, but I'm Andrew, and welcome to the very first episode of JNA Podcast. Since this is our first podcast, we all agreed that we would each give a little introduction to ourselves. Nothing wrong, just short, sweet, and simple version of who we are. And I'll start off. My name is Andrew, obviously, born and raised in Michigan, been in Florida for the past decade or so. Carpenter by trade, a gamer at heart. I love sports, history, science, and damn near anything to do with nerdom. I'm sure the more episodes we go along, the more will come out. But for now, I'm not going to do an autobiography. That's all I got. On to you, Nick.
Hi, I'm Nick. I'm 28 years old, born and raised in Michigan as well with Andrew. Been in Florida for now over 10 years. My interests consist of sports, science, history. I do like gaming, just not as much as these two fuckers. And this podcast is mainly just to, go over some topics and whatever we're feeling like talking about, and hopefully get people to open their minds. What about you, John?
Hi, I'm John, and I'm an alcoholic. Oh, wait, sorry, wrong meeting. Hi, I'm John, and I'm a sociopath. Wait, that one's right. I am 31 years old, born in Kansas, raised in Michigan. I've been here for pretty much as long as I've been alive. I'm basically a brainiac nerd. My interests are, that's it, mostly video games, but science, philosophy, the art of criticism, which may or may not be a future episode, fingers crossed. But yeah, just expect me to be the socially awkward one.
I like how you call criticism a fucking art.
Yeah, criticism is in fact an art.
Bitching is not an art.
Bitching is not an art. Criticism is an art.
Tomato, dude.
Oh, yep, this is a future episode.
Agreed.
Like how you lucked out and born in Kansas, but then you grew up in Michigan, dude. You were pretty close to growing up in one of the most boring fucking states in this country.
Oh,
Honestly, I never knew you were born in Kansas. I never knew that. Why don't you click your shoes back together and go home?
Oh, look, a Toto joke. How witty of you.
Hey, that's original.
Sure.
Anyway, we decided that we were going to talk about the fucking coronavirus because it's actually taking over this country by a storm. I can't help. I'm no specialist whatsoever, guys. I really am not. I'm not a dermatologist. I'm not no doctor. I'm not nothing. I'm just a guy that's lived on this planet working my ass off. But I tell you one thing, I can't help but think that this is just overblown just a little bit. The fact that entire states are getting shut down just from a little people dying it's mind-boggling to me. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, it is. Statistics that I've read upon, every day it increases to a dramatic extent. We now have over 30,000 deaths in the world, well over 600,000 cases so far. What's amazing about it, though, is it's a very low death rate. Very low.
2%, isn't it?
2%, but that's more deadly than basically any other kind of seasonal sickness that's gone around.
Really?
Yeah, like, if the death percent was, say 1 or 2% higher, people would be genuinely calling this a plague, not just ironically calling it a plague. 2% doesn't sound like a lot, but remember, that's, 600,000 people over the course of a month. Pretty serious.
Yeah,
but isn't the H1N1 worse than this?
It is, but it's not as slippery, and it doesn't have the same kind of transmission between people.
H1N1 was more. I'm sorry, Nick, go ahead.
We also have to keep this in mind that this is not over. H1N1 is over with. So the statistics that you're reading about H1N1, that's been said and done. This is still growing, and every day it seems to be getting worse and worse from what I read at least.
Yeah, it does. It seems like every single time I see the numbers, it's doubled or tripled. Yeah, every single time, I would check the numbers only every 2 days, but at least in my area, West Palm, where I work in Florida, the numbers have went from 70 the first 3 or 4 days, and then the next week after that, it jumped up to 200 something. Then the week after that, now it's up to like 700 something. Like, Jesus, it ain't even been a month.
And now you know why this is serious.
Yeah, but still, I still can't help to think that like getting an entire state's getting shut down. What is it, up to 16 now? States are shut down. I can't help to think that's a little excessive.
Well, you got to keep this in mind, Andrew. I mean, if you don't shut things down, it's just going to keep spreading at an astronomical rate more than it already is. I mean, you got 16 states that are shut down, but the numbers are still skyrocketing. Think of it if they didn't shut it down, right?
Go ahead.
Is that John?
Oh, I said never mind.
But also keep this in mind. Even when the states do shut down, the numbers are still increasing. When they open it back up, who's to say the numbers don't keep increasing? Because obviously, the testing that they're doing, they're even telling people not to get tested unless you're having serious symptoms. So think of all the people that are literally sitting at home with the virus, just not showing serious symptoms. I believe, and this is my opinion, not factual, I believe that the number they gave us, 600 and something thousand, I think you can pretty much double that.
Yeah, 1 million is actually a pretty conservative estimate.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't it been slowing down in China and Italy?
Yes and no. Like, Italy has no new confirmed cases, but the fact of the matter is it's still spreading over there, according to all sources, because that's it. Not everybody is in quarantine, so that's it. It's kind of crazy.
Well, usually when something like this pops up, it seems to be a bitch for a little bit. Then our immune systems seem to build up some kind of threshold to it, and then obviously it kind of gets eradicated away. It doesn't necessarily go away, but it becomes a lot less relevant. I mean, and it seemed to be the case with SARS, H1N1, Spanish flu, and so on.
Well, I would assume that's because of the vaccines and treatments that they come out with. I would assume, right?
Yeah, a big problem with this is that you've probably heard the word novel being thrown around. What that means is that as far as humans concerned, this is an entirely new disease, and it's not something that our immune system has any kind of practice against. It's not like other types of viruses, say, like influenza, the flu, or even H1N1 or, any of that shit. It's that our immune systems right now literally just kind of look at it and go, "What the fuck do we do?"
Yeah,
and also, Andrew, you gave a comparison about the Spanish flu. We got to keep in mind that came out in 1918, I believe it was, or early 1900s. There was no technology or actual specialist that could work around the clock and come up with something that's efficient enough to treat anybody. Nowadays, it's just a little different. So I don't expect it to get that bad, but you never know. I mean, I'm not an expert myself, so you never know.
I do know that there is one thing for fact that I don't think anybody could disagree with, is that we are living in like something that's going to be written down in future history books. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
Like, there's going to be a point in time, like, our grandkids or whoever, like, kids are going to be asking us what the hell we were doing at a time like this, just like they will about 9/11.
That's a pretty fair assessment. I mean, that's it. This shit is basically sweeping the globe.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It is definitely going to be something that's etched in history. Like Andrew was saying, like 9/11. I do believe that this will calm down here pretty soon. I don't believe this is going to be a traumatic event for the next year or
Every
so.
single time I think that, dude, it gets worse. Every single time I'm like, this is it, dude. That's just the threshold. It ain't going nowhere from here. And then it fucking, wow, breaking news. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude, it ain't going away.
Well, that's also a part of the testing system. I mean, and recently they just came out with tests that you can test positive or negative in like 5-10 minutes. Before it would take 2-3 days. So you see the growth of the amount of people.
It was hours.
Well,
it's depending on the case. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, before that, they came up with these new tests in the last, say, week or so, and I'm not exact on that. But before they came up with these tests that could detect it within, a few minutes or a few hours, it was a couple days. So people that were getting tested weren't seeing any results for a couple of days, and then so on and so forth over the last month and a half or so. So, of course, the numbers are going to keep spiking up for a while until all the tests actually came in from that, and then moving forward, I think it will slow down. Eventually, I would say.
It's going to slow down, but to be completely honest, we are going to be dealing with this shit for probably the rest of 2020, realistically speaking. If I wanted to be, a bit of a doomsayer, probably well into 2021.
Let me ask you.
I heard from an expert that they're saying that even like the best case scenario that, like, say some kind of miracle happens, that like the shortest we can get a vaccine for it is like 18 months. No, like that's the best case scenario. That's like more than likely it's going to be like over 2 years.
Yeah.
That would be a safe assessment that the rest of 2020 is going to be about the fucking coronavirus.
Well, keep this in mind. Now, let's understand the difference here. There is a difference between a vaccine that cures a problem and treatments that actually help with symptoms and, kind of helps spread the disease. Are you saying that you believe that there's nothing in the foreseeable future, I should say the immediate foreseeable future, that will dictate this slowing down? Or do you think this is just going to be an ongoing thing where the numbers just keep increasing over the next year?
I don't know if the numbers are going to keep increasing. Well, I mean, obviously they're going to keep increasing. I don't think they'll do so quite as dramatically as they have been, say, over their say the past month or so. But there's nothing really that's going to slow this down other than lockdowns. It's a virus, so there's nothing you can really do anything about it. It's attacking cells. It's not using bacteria as food, as far as I know, so antibacterials aren't going to work. It's just that's it. It's the best.
Let me give an example. I don't mean to interrupt you, so excuse me. But let me give it an example. Like, for example, HIV and AIDS. They have things nowadays that, is there a cure for it, so to speak? There's theorists out there that say there is, but let's just go on the assumption there's not, because that's what we know as of now. But there are things that they use as treatment that are used to not spread it, to prevent the spread of HIV and AIDS. Do you think that they will have something like that quickly or in place over the next couple months that will help slow down or prevent the spread of the coronavirus? Or do you think that's not even in the textbook?
No, I don't think there's going to be any kind of medicinal way of just slowing it down. Since we are having cases now where people are recovering, we're taking a lot of their blood and looking, trying to see if we can replicate the antibodies that survivors have produced in response to the coronavirus, and that's actually where we're going to see vaccinations and any other kind of inoculations. But that's it. Things like HIV, we had a long time to develop drugs, figure out what the virus's method of action was, and really the only the way we prevent the spread of HIV is basically by suppressing what the human body is doing anyway that enables the spread of HIV.
And you don't think that there's a possibility that they could do the same thing with this coronavirus? You think that's out of the question?
There is, Nick. There's two ways to start the spread of this. Good old lockdown and quarantine, buddy. That's about what you get.
I don't know. I just fully believe that very soon that they'll have something, not as a cure. Keep in mind, I don't mean cure. No. I mean actual prevention of the spread of it. I mean, don't get me wrong. You can look in history, and technology these days is so well advanced. I have a hard time believing that there will not be something pretty quick that will help, slow down. Maybe not prevent it all in general, but at least slow it down. I mean, I don't even think
a cure is even. I don't think a cure is even possible for it, because that'd be like them trying to cure the common flu, wouldn't it? And it mutates so much they can't cure the common flu because of how much it mutates. Even when you get a vaccine for the common flu, it's not this year's flu. It's the year's prior flu to try to build up your immunity so it can fight this year's flu. That's all it is.
Close enough.
And I don't think they're ever going to have a necessary cure for this thing, where at least, it might be a 200 years or whatever, but just in the foreseeable future of our future, I don't think they're going to have a cure for it.
Let me throw this out there. Do we think that this is a flu, Or do we think that this just has flu-like symptoms? Because everything I read doesn't say that this is like the flu. I know a lot of people compare it, but that's a lot of social media bullshit, honestly. I don't believe that this is an actual flu. This is more along the line of just like a regular illness and something. I don't know. I just don't believe that this is something that is like the flu and going to keep being a problem like the flu, because as you stated, it does mutate. I don't think this is going to keep mutating. I think once we find a cure for it, it's going to be said and done. Again,
I can't answer that. You know what I mean? I don't study this, dude. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I just merely listen to based on what they tell me. From what I've heard, every single expert I've ever heard talk about it just basically say that this is not a flu. It just happens to have some flu-like symptoms. That's it.
Yeah. I know a little bit about virology and epidemiology, and people are calling it a flu because of the symptoms. They are flu-like, although if you've read any of the first-hand accounts of people who managed to survive, this is like a flu on steroids. This is basically, the flex flu, the kind that leaves your lungs with permanent scarring. So, yeah.
But does anybody, or has anybody, either one of you guys, I should say, has either one of you guys have read something that states that this is mutating or that it will mutate? Is there any speculation out there that would say that?
It has, other than the initial mutation that allowed it to go from infecting humans to animals and go from infecting an infected human from an animal to humans, being able to spread the virus that way. There are currently 2 theorized strains running around. I believe that's coronavirus S and coronavirus L, and what the differences between the strains are remains to be seen, but there are definitely 2, or rather, it's proposed that there are definitely 2 different strains of the virus going around. And one of the big facets of this that kind of scared, everybody in the WHO and anybody who knows the fuck about this, or well, knows a real fuck about this, is that the virus is slippery. Usually transmission from human to animals is something that takes a while, and then once it can infect a human, usually it can't go or jump between humans. So the fact that it went from infect a dude to that dude's infecting other dudes, that's serious.
Seems like when it does make a jump from animal to humans, it kind of wreaks havoc on us at first, and then we just kind of build up an immunity towards it, and then balances itself out.
Which this brings me to another good point. This is something that we should have to cover, because just recently we have just figured out that it can be transmitted from animal to human, but there's a couple different things that people are saying that where this stem from. There's a laboratory in China, which is right outside the market, that they think that this is where this came from. And then a lot of people, like myself, believe this did come from the wet market, where they're putting animals on top of animals, different kind of breeds, and basically that's where they all believe this came from. Any thoughts on that?
From a bastard ate a bat, didn't it?
Well, that's not 100% accurate, nor have I ever seen any experts actually state that. And please, if you have any experts that have said that, please send it over. I'll take a listen. But from what I know, this is all just theoretically.
Your one chance to get mutated from a bat and you don't turn into Batman, that sucks, dude.
Would that be the man bat? Because let's anyway.
But seriously, what is your guys'
thought? Nick, he was already trying to ruin the joke. Like, we're not even a half hour into this thing. He's already trying to ruin my shit.
Right. But seriously, I want to hear your guys' opinion on this. I mean, I'm sure you guys heard the same thing I did. There's like a laboratory like a mile and a half away from the wet market where a lot of people think this is where it came from. But there's also the other side of that coin that people are thinking this is stemming from that laboratory. Like humans created this disease, and there's some conspiracy kind of trying to, block off people from medicine, because as you guys probably do know, that like 80% or more of the major medicine that comes from this world actually come from China, right?
I think that's complete bullshit, dude. Every single expert I've ever listened to says this like endlessly. They just say that we have natural diseases on this planet that are such a huge scare to them. I've heard, I think his name is like Mike Bloomberg or something like that, but I've heard him say this. It's kind of stuck with me. Is that it's very stubborn to think that we could be as creative as nature when it comes to the diseases, and something like the coronavirus that we're dealing with now. It's such a perfect storm. It would be so stubborn to think that we can make that and nature could.
All right. Well, it's worth pointing out that we do actually have a way to modify viruses. Have you guys ever heard of CRISPR?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
Oh,
explain what CRISPR is to Nick, John.
Okay. To be broadly reductive, what CRISPR is we use viruses and or bacteria in order to edit the genetic code of something. It's something we stumbled on recently. I couldn't give you an exact date, but it's a fairly new thing within genetic editing, and basically it's again broadly reductive. It's stupid dumb and stupid cheap compared to the other ways that we used to try and manipulate genomes.
So basically, it's a way to manipulate DNA.
Yeah.
Okay. I looked it up. I wasn't that smart to actually look that myself. I actually looked it up.
Hey, learning. This is why we're doing the podcast. Not only educating you people, the listeners, but ourselves.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, keep this in mind, Andrew. You said something about we're not smart enough to either create or replicate nature. I don't think I agree with that. I mean, with artificial intelligence skyrocketing the way it is, I don't think it's out of the question that we can. I'm not saying manipulate nature. I'm not saying that, but it wouldn't be out of the question to like duplicate it. I mean, do you disagree with that?
No, not at all.
I just think it's really asinine to think that we can make this just like every single time something like this happens. They don't even matter what happened. It'd be Hurricane Katrina. There's always those dudes with the tinfoil hats in the backyard saying that Bush did it with some kind of weather satellite or so. It's like there's always got to be some like giant mastermind behind why this happened. When we just can't just be some bastard ate a bat and now we got the coronavirus. Like why? Sometimes we just don't want to accept the simple answer. You know what I mean?
And I agree with the fact that we don't want to accept a simple answer, but I mean, and I'm sure we all agree on this, you know, people in this world are just greedy and dangerous. So is it really out of the question that somebody or, you know, a group of these people would come up with something as traumatic as this, whether to be to get over on another country, use it as a financial gain or something of that nature? I don't think that's out of the question either. Again,
Okay.
I don't agree.
Right.
I don't agree personally.
Hold on. Let him finish.
I'll play devil's advocate. Hold up. Let me play devil's advocate, Nick. Now, let's just say somebody did create this inside a lab. What would be the reason for it to spread? This coronavirus, it's only killing old people. I mean, to clear up some old people in China or something?
Why?
Hold on. Let me just address something right there real quick. It's not just killing old people. It's killing the majority it's killing across all age ranges. Now, old people are at bigger risk because, you know, weaker lungs, shit like that. But no, this is lethal or potentially lethal to anybody.
Thank you, John, for pointing that out. But Andrew, let me kind of go off of that. There is a financial gain to this spread, especially when, you know, think about where it comes from. China. Well, they create most of the major medicine that we use today, and we don't have any. And this is something I heard from a disease expert on Joe Rogan, and I'm sure you heard the same thing, that China, the fact that they create all these, we do not have the capability or the expertise to do it ourselves. So is it out of the question that they didn't do it and didn't do this for their own financial or political gain? I really don't think that's out of the question. I really don't know.
That's my question, though.
Go ahead.
That's my question, though, is what financial or political gain? Because the only thing it's done is hurt economies, including China's.
Well, keep this in mind. Where do we have to go to find medicine right now? China. The fact of the matter is that with everything going, and this is something I don't read too much on, but from what I understand, Trump is like really kind of being a bulldog when it comes to the trade deals with China. And could that play a role in it? Again, politically, I don't think that's out of the question. The fact of the matter is I don't think you can just cross that off the list without actually investigating it. Now, with that same breath, there are experts that say there is absolutely no evidence to suggest that this is coming from any kind of human or laboratory. There's no evidence to suggest that at all. But, I mean, there's cover-ups that happen every day. And again, I'm not one to agree with this. I'm just saying that people that are just completely, crossing that off the list, thinking that there's no way that is possible, I think that's where you're wrong. I don't think that's not possible. I just think that it's unlikely.
I don't think you necessarily agree with it, but like I said, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate of what exactly would they be trying to accomplish, because if they did have some kind of plan to release this coronavirus, that plan backfired on them, I guarantee you that. Because I don't see anybody fucking benefiting from this at all. At least in what I'm seeing.
I don't agree. You got North Korea, and again, I'm not an expert at this, but I have done my fair share of research on North Korea laws and the way they just go about things. North Korea president, and what people look at him as a god, he has no problem offing his own people.
Same thing with the Communist Party of China.
Exactly. So again, to say that there's no gain in it, there might not be gain that I can explain to you right now, whether it be political, financially, or just lower their population themselves. I mean, China has some strict rules when it comes to having kids anymore. I think you can't have any more than 2 kids, right?
They actually just changed that from the 1-child policy to the 2-child policy.
Whatever. The fact that they have a policy on that is more than enough. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. And by the way, it's not that I disagree with the population in China. I mean, there's like a couple billion of them bastards running around. You know what I mean? But to say that you can only have 2 children in your household, I mean, that's just dictatorship, in my opinion. Which, by the way, I mean, we all know they kind of are that way. But holy hell,
Xi Jinping, he's a character.
Right.
Oh, nobody say Winnie the Pooh. Oops.
But to elaborate on my point, Andrew, is it out of the question that this would not be some kind of financial or political gain for the uprisers of China? I don't think.
I don't see it, but hey, man, I've been wrong about things before. Never know. Live in the world that you never know, but I just think that's absolutely absurd to think that people are going to release this virus, and maybe if it was killing more people, or if there was some kind of straight outlining or to it or something like that, but I just don't see it.
Yeah. And by the way, I mean, when you say the deaths, I mean, as of, and I can look this up now, but as of a couple days ago, China had a little less than 4,000 deaths compared to Italy at over 9,000 and compared to us at over 1,500, which I know it's snowballed now, but the fact of the matter is China is one of the least on that list. So again, I don't think it's absurd as much as you think. I just think is it unlikely that that's the reason, Andrew? Yes, I do believe that's unlikely. But again, it's not something you just cross off the list.
Oh, it's pretty crazy is how quiet Russia's been about all of this.
Yeah, they've actually been pretty goddamn quiet. Same thing with the UK. I've been looking around trying to, get information on their sources, and I've even, changed up my IP to make sure, there's nothing being region blocked or anything. But there's a lot of other countries are very mum. And granted, I understand, our media, we're only really covering either anything that's crazy big, such as China, Italy, which has been, absolutely devastated by this shit. But that's UK numbers are lower.
Just shut down the UK, didn't it?
Yeah, well, basically once Italy started showing signs of really starting to circle the drain, they just went ape shit.
I'm sorry, what were the numbers?
I honestly don't recall.
I'm pulling the statistics up right now from country by country, so I'll be able to elaborate on that in a second. And I'll tell you the source, by the way.
But
all right. Per the Worldometer.
thought Nick was about to read something off, and then he just paused. Pausing. He's probably just sitting there reading.
Okay, well, to address the point, it's not necessarily out of the question that it could be man-made, but all the evidence suggests that it's not. And the simple fact of the matter is that we only tend to think of it, infectious diseases in terms of how they affect us, humans. The problem is, though, is that there are a lot of viruses that affect solely different types of animals, different varieties, or different species, rather. And them making the jump from animal to human it's a rare thing, and it's something that the WHO tries to keep track of. That's why, whenever you hear the word novel virus, they're referring to something that came from animals that made the jump to humans. Like this variety of the coronavirus, COVID-19, already existed in species of bats and stuff like that. And even if humans got it in them, the virus probably couldn't do anything just because it wasn't geared to our particular biology. But the fact that it mutated and was able to start affecting the human genome, because the way viruses reproduce is they commandeer cells to make more viruses, so on and so forth, basic biology. That's it. Yes, it's possible, but how tinfoil hat do we want to get?
Say something like that without zero evidence towards it, you're just making shit up. I mean, that's all you're really doing. I could just sit here and be like, Zeus is the one that gave us the coronavirus because we don't worship the bastard anymore. And they got tired of lightning bolts. Fuck it. You know what I mean? I got no evidence towards it, but I just feel like putting that out there. Let's see if that catches on.
Well,
that's how I feel when people say about this shit, you know?
I got the numbers, by the way. Russia, they are far down the list. They have 1,534 active cases as of yesterday, so I'm assuming that that's increased already, but only 8 deaths. Okay? Even Ecuador has more deaths at 57, Poland at 20, Romania at 42, Japan at 52. Again, this is statistics from yesterday. So, yeah, they're pretty far down the list, so it makes sense why they've been quiet. But, yeah, I mean, it's increasing. USA has taken over number 1, by the way. We have over 130,000 cases now. And
we're up to 130,000. Last I checked, it was only 105,000 cases.
No, this was updated. Let me tell you when this was up. Last updated March 28th, 132,701. Worldwide.
It'll probably jump up by 2 million tomorrow.
I don't know about that. But yeah, I get the...
I'm just fucking.
That's honestly not too terribly unrealistic.
No, unfortunately, it's not unrealistic, but I mean, I don't foresee it. I mean, and there's this, I can't remember the article I read, so don't quote me on it, but the first month that this was known to be in America or the United States, it was like 100 cases. The next week, it was 500 cases, and it's just like not even just doubling, but quadrupling by the week. I don't see it slowing down that soon, but I do believe with the new tests they have coming out that this will start to decline when it comes to the numbers. I really do.
One thing I do hope that happens with all this, getting the attention, is that we really start putting more effort into helping our fucking scientists in not only this country but worldwide. And it's 100% absurd that the people that can go out there and hit a ball with a bat can make $100 million a year, and meanwhile these scientists are just struggling to get any kind of funding towards anything serious. You know what I mean? If we're having this much trouble with one little simple virus, what the hell is going to happen when global warming actually starts taking effect? You know what I mean?
Just to like to point out that is already taking effect. That's not something where it's going to be a tipping point.
I meant to like a real drastic matter. I meant to where it's going to start affecting us here, like drastically.
I think we found our next episode, guys.
Again, when it comes to even global warming, I'm just listening to experts, dude. I don't even consider myself like a scholar by any means. So like these guys do pour their whole lives into some of these subjects. You know what I mean? But when I hear what they're warning me of, and everybody they're freaking out about it, then I listen to like just like right wingers or whatever on the media, just like no, it's nothing. Like the fact that there are that many people out there that think this is bullshit and that they're just making things up, it makes me concerned.
Yeah. Well, let's face it. People don't or the idea of trusting science or science has kind of come down because it's been shown that science can be, or well, scientific reports specifically, not science, the discipline itself can be manipulated, to fit a certain agenda. And let's face it, manipulating data or cherry picking data, that's always going to be a thing. There's no stopping that. But uh, not unlike,
Information bias, you're basically saying.
yeah, and there is just the simple fact that we will disbelieve anything that can hurt us right up until the point it's, shot us in the foot.
Yeah.
I like to quote Tommy Lee Jones in the movie Men in Black. People are dumb, the person is smart. Not quote for quote, but in other words, yeah, it's basically what he said.
Yeah,
People are
in general.
finicky and they're stupid, especially with social media just taking over. I mean, I don't know what the hell's up with this toilet paper thing going on here, but I mean, where the hell is this even start? You know what I mean? What the hell is toilet paper going to do for you? Are you shitting yourself so much or something? I don't know.
No, that's just people freaking out.
Toilet paper is going to end up becoming a currency, just like bottle caps are in Fallout. People are going to be taking squares of toilet paper like $100 bills, man.
I seen this post on Facebook. It was like a little, just a meme. And it had people putting toilet paper in dime bags, sounding like it was weed.
Yeah.
That was golden, dude.
It said, "I got you, man. Whatever, what you need."
You want 2 squares, man? That's gonna be $10, homie.
Right.
Yeah, I saw some of those where there was one where you see some shady guy, hat, sunglasses, standing on the corner. You see somebody drive up and he's like, "You got the cash? Yeah, you got the goods." Hands him a stack of 20 bills, or he feathers through it and he reaches into his jacket and it's fucking a roll of Charmin and a roll of or a bottle of Purell, and he puts it in the car and the guy just speeds off. It was just sort of like, oh wow, it's funny.
That was one thing that's one thing I'm really happy that this coronavirus is getting us is the fucking memes and shit on like social media, man, because they're so hilarious, especially like the essentials and the non-essentials memes. Like those crack me up the most, dude. I can't stop posting those. They're just fucking hilarious.
Although that a lot of them are funny, but I mean, come to think of it, social media is like the source of the problem with the spread of fake news. I mean, that's just the bottom line. People go online, they say, "Oh my God, I heard this from whoever. We got to buy the toilet paper," and that's where it comes from. I believe it's where it comes from because I don't think that hundreds of thousands or even millions of people are just going around for out of nowhere just buying all the toilet paper.
Oh yeah. You're absolutely right, dude. You're absolutely right. Somebody, like, as soon as they hear that toilet paper started running out in, like, a small part of Italy or what the hell ever like that, people see that on social media, they start freaking out and think, oh, shit, I should probably buy toilet paper before toilet paper runs out. And then you've got those hoarders that are still hoarding up toilet paper so they can overcharge it to other people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I guarantee you social media has got a huge part to do with it. I guarantee it.
It doesn't help the fact that the local news, and I don't care what news you're talking about, whether it be local to Florida or anywhere around the country or world for that matter, they're all corrupt themselves. I mean, it's especially over the last, I'd say, 10 years or so, it's starting to be like more publicly known to fact check news reporters because most of their information is just bullshit. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
I wouldn't know because I don't even watch the news, like any shape or form. Like if they could be talking about toilet paper 24/7 on the news, I wouldn't even know.
If you watch,
I try to get my information from other ways. What's that, John?
Oh, if you watch the news, you're misinformed. If you don't watch the news, you're uninformed.
Right.
Paraphrasing.
It's kind of like stuck between a rock and a hard place, right? And I'm more kind of referring to it as a political thing because the politics on the news are just ridiculous. Just ridiculous.
But it's insane. I do know that you could hop on Fox, right, and literally watch one headline on Fox, Go on CNN, watch that same exact headline, and it'd be two different things. They're saying two different, completely fucking different things about a live video. About a video, you could watch yourself and see that they're both lying. It's insane. The reason why I'm watching.
For example, here's a good example. Remember the video of the young guy with the mega hat? This is like right after Trump became president, probably like a year or so after he became president. And they were all shunning him because he was like, spitting out bullshit to Native Americans and downing them, this and that. Come to find out, it was the other way around. Everybody was like picking on the guy, and the only video that they actually posted was him maybe not saying any kind of racial slur or anything like that, but he was basically just like standing there mocking a Native American, even though once they released the full video, it was everybody else like dogging on the kid. You know what I mean? It was ridiculous.
I see a lot of those circle through social media a lot. You know what I mean? Not only social media, but the news too. Like it's just like what John was saying earlier about cherry picking. You know what I mean? That's what they're basically doing. They're taking one little part and making it into what they want or what they think is going to get clicks and what they think is going to get views. You know.
Another example was the medical aid that Trump sent to Puerto Rico. I think it was Puerto Rico during like the major hurricane or earthquake or whatever it was, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, he didn't help them in time, this and that." And then recently, they found a whole warehouse full of the medical aid that he actually sent them. Ridiculous, right?
I guess backstepping a little bit, but yeah, partisanship in the news has honestly been a growing problem. I don't know if it's just something that changed over, say, like the last decade, or if it's just something I became more aware of. But yeah, a lot of news outlets are putting their own particular spin on a story, and I understand some of that is just journalistic writing, but yeah, the integrity is coming into question.
Well, big time.
Coming into question. It's a huge question.
That's the biggest part of the problem, in my opinion, is, and I was watching the update for the coronavirus. Donald Trump does one like every day, it seems like now.
Yeah.
And the reporters that ask some stupid questions, and it's like, oh my God. And he even calls them out like, you journalists used to be good people. You used to actually, report the actual news. Now you guys are just trying to find a scandal or, a misperception so you guys get more ratings. Yeah, and I mean, it's just
to fit their narrative.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, he does say things like that, but at the same time, there are a lot of what I would consider legitimate questions where he just starts going off on a given reporter, like, oh, you guys, let's say, you guys do fake news, so on and so forth. And let's face it, Trump has proven himself to be temperamental. Like, we don't want to get too political. I don't want to divert this to make this too political. But at the simple fact of the matter is that Trump has not been an even-handed president.
That's the thing, that you really don't even have to cherry pick things he says to make a guy look bad, because he'll do it on his own. He just says things where I'm just like, man, is that like a real human being that said that thought that they just get away with saying some shit like that?
And
you know what I mean?
We're not going to make this too political, because this probably may be for another episode, honestly. But, and I like to call it, I don't agree with Trump, but is the best at what we had to choose from. I agree with that. And it's sad to say, although it's very sad to even say that or believe that, but, I mean, look at the other choices you had. I mean, and nobody compared to what he has done so far, and each one of them have been in politics for, the average is 30 years. And what have they done? Nothing. What have they done in comparison to what Trump has done with the economy, whether it be unemployment or whether it be just employment in general? And I'm talking like all races. I'm not just talking the middle class white America. I'm talking about, African American, the Asian community. He's boosted up the economy quite well before this pandemic came around. And again, this might not be for a good episode right now or a good discussion right now, because it's, going to agree or disagree, but the numbers are the numbers.
Yeah, let's put a pin in that. And all right.
I was just trying to say that the guy says hilarious shit. Like, I don't care if you support him. I don't care if you're against him. I don't care what's your opinion on the dude. I think we just all agree he says fucking hilarious shit.
He does. He does. I like the one where when Kansas City won the Super Bowl last year.
Oh, yeah.
What's the word I'm looking for? He thought Kansas City was in a different state than what it was.
Yeah. It was actually Kansas, not Missouri.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was funny as hell, man. There was a meme on Facebook that said, "Yeah, we could put a wall around them too."
One of my favorite ones is the one he posted on Twitter of I think it was like Denmark or something like that, where he posted Trump Tower in like Denmark, and he's like, "Don't worry, I promise not to do this." Like, bro, you're the president of the United States, man. You can't be making jokes like that on Twitter. What are you doing, man?
I do like the most recent meme I seen about the Mexican border wall. You know, Mexico has shut down their border, and then a meme on Donald Trump that said, or not really said, but basically like, "See, I told you I'd close their borders." I thought that was pretty funny.
Ooh, danger. No, I mean, since we're on the subject of memes, like we've mentioned earlier, there's a lot of different memes from it. What what do you think? What is the driving force behind creating all the humorous memes concerning the coronavirus? Because I mean, in my opinion, it's basically the human natural response to things being shit. We try and make things a little bit better. I mean, just look at all those children's songs like "Ring Around the Rosie" that are about the plague and death, or London Bridges is falling. So,
right.
Yeah, basically, I agree with everything you just said, man. That's what it basically comes to: is people just gotta laugh about it. You know what I mean? A lot of people that have a great sense of humor and joke around a lot, they tend to like jump online because that's the way they can get attention. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I can make this meme, and I think this meme's hilarious. My friend thinks this meme is hilarious. Let's see if I can push this online. And his friend takes it, then a friend of his friend takes it, and so on and so forth. And it just gets spread around fast because people love to laugh.
Yeah, attention seekers are a problem. I mean, and I'm going to kind of take this a little further. You got people on like YouTube. I mean, I can't remember the guy's name, Ninja something. He's like a YouTube gamer.
Oh, yeah.
The guy makes mad money, but what does he really do? He posts his stuff on YouTube and social media. I mean, I'm not saying he's more of an attention seeker more than others, but I mean, you got Instagram people putting selfies up every 5 seconds because after you get so many, you get like some kind of revenue or some kind of money for posting up this crap. I mean, the days now, or I should say nowadays, with how much bullshit you get on social media, I think it's a problem. I mean, fast forward to, maybe 40, 50 years from now, the movie Idiocracy, I don't think that's a far fetch. You know what I mean? I really don't.
I mean, it could be a problem, but it could also be a great thing, too. You know what I mean? The reason why it's a problem is because disinformation is being spread about. Now, if it was the right information that people should be learning, spreading about as quickly as disinformation, it would be a fantastic thing. You know what I mean? We just gotta be able to learn to fact check. The problem is you're just seeing something and you're just taking it as fact and not actually Googling it, and it only takes 5 seconds to do it. You know what I mean?
You are correct, but I do also believe that people, not that they're not, don't have the ability to do that, but they just don't do it in general. I mean, again, this goes to my statement earlier saying that people are dumb. You post something on social media, if it even looks legitimate or halfway legitimate, you got people that will just spread that like the plague.
It's worth pointing out that there's a meme that floats around every April Fool's Day, which we're coming up on. April Fool's Day is the only time people, fact check something that they read on the internet.
Yeah, I could see that one.
Right? That's funny. But yeah, I mean, that just goes to my point, though, that, I mean, think about how the toilet paper thing came around during this virus. I mean, it's like, how do you think it became? Somebody posted on social media saying, "Oh my God, the toilet paper is all gone." Everybody said, "Oh my God, I got to get toilet paper."
No, I think it became a thing because the toilet paper shortage was a thing somewhere. Italy, China, wherever, like maybe China went in lockdown and they had a shortage of toilet paper. I do know that China has like this weird thing about toilet paper over there where they don't have it installed in some places and shit like that. So I think it did start off as a thing in one area and then it got extrapolated from that and once it jumped on social media to where it's become to what it is now.
I would say that it's kind of just the natural response to any manner of crisis. Like, we've all heard, oh, the weather's going to be really shitty, don't go outside. So, like all the bread disappears. We had that here in Michigan when they were predicting some really bad blizzards, not but a couple of years ago. I think it's just the human proclivity that when we smell crisis in the air, either because of social media or traditional media, that, oh, some shit, serious shit might be coming, that, go out and rush out and stock up on all the things that you're not going to want to leave the house for, which is, toilet paper, of course, bread. Like one problem we've been having just shopping up here is you can't find any fucking meat anywhere. And this is, of course, along with toilet paper, but a lot of grocery stores are literally just shit's flying off the shelves faster than they can stock it.
Basically what you just said there is that when shit hits the fan, people like to wipe their ass.
More or less. But as I said, it's just kind of like the natural response to any kind of crisis is, let me hoard all this shit now so that way I don't have to worry about it later.
I see no lies, man. I see no lies.
And by the way, I think that's a problem itself. I mean, hoarding is where, kind of looters come from. And I'm not saying this is the biggest part of the problem with looters, but when there is a national crisis or some kind of traumatic event, like, for example, Florida has hurricanes. I mean, every hurricane season, it seems like we have at least one major hurricane, like, hurt some part of Florida. And then you got looters going around stealing other people's shit, or you got companies price gouging. I mean, the last hurricane we had last season, I can't remember the name of it, honestly. I just kind of let them go after a while. I think it was Maria, if I'm not mistaken. But, I mean, I went to the store to buy a thing of water. It was $9. $9 for a case of water. So, it's just people. I mean, they're greedy, they're selfish, and if they start hoarding everything, and then what are you going to resort to? If you don't have it and another person has stock shelves of it, what are you going to do? Well, natural response. Give me your shit,
Also, John, we're down here in Florida, at least where I'm at in Florida, we're running out of meat everywhere here, too. It was absolutely absurd. I remember the first week, one of the first week or maybe the second week where it was hit West Palm where I'm working in. I was thinking that, hey, maybe we should go up to Walmart late at like 12 o'clock, you know what I mean? Get it to where they're restocking the shelves. We're going to try to get there where there's not many people. And when we went up there, it was just bare, dude. Like, I couldn't even get a pack of hot dogs. I'm like, this is insanity, man. I was like, I've been in this same exact area where the Category 5 hurricane headed directly at us. I could still go get meat whenever I wanted. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell, you guys like panic buying meat now, too? Panic buying toilet paper, panic buying meat? Everybody's going to be locked up in their house, wiping their ass, eating the jolly good things.
And that's another part of the problem. I mean, you see on social media, or not really social media, I should say, but anytime you get an update, for example, the governor DeSantis for Florida, he does an update every day as well, and they always elaborate, oh, the community's doing so well working together. Trump says we're doing a really good job staying together through this difficult time. And it's like, no, we're not. You go to the store to buy something, it's not there because somebody wanted to buy 12 freaking packs of toilet paper. So
somebody wanted to be a fucking douchebag.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, are we really doing a good job by sticking together? I don't think so, honestly, because every time you go buy something, whether it be toilet paper or meats or whatever during this kind of crisis, it's just not there because people are literally waiting in line to take the whole stack of it.
Yeah, and we've seen, at least up here, a lot of per customer limits come up. Like, I actually need to go and grab some stuff later today, but we've seen a lot of, okay, limit 2 per customer, limit 3 per customer on certain things.
Got that. He started down here too.
Well, not only has it started that down here, but there's a lot of stores that are only letting like so many people into the store at a time. So you got to line out the store waiting to get in.
A lot of that is also CDC recommendation. The less people you have in there at a time, the less chance of contact, so on and so forth.
No, I get the reason why, but
They even did this shit for fucking eggs. Can't even buy 2 carts of eggs now because people want to be douchebags and buy 25 cartons of eggs when they don't need it.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, every news source you see is, oh, everybody's working together. We're doing a very great job as a community, kind of sticking together and helping each other out. And I'm kind of like, where? My neighbor hasn't come over to give me a roll of toilet paper. You know what I mean? They haven't gave me no damn eggs. So where do you see this? Where are we sticking together? And first of all, not many people are actually listening to the shutdown or lockdown. I mean, they are for the most part, but not the way they should be, in my opinion, I should say.
I think you're being too optimistic for our very first episode.
See, when we were talking about the setup shit, that's what I meant by the tone.
And
we're all. Let's not try and be a bunch of Debbie Downers. I mean, usually that role's usually restricted for me, but here y'all are trying to steal my job.
If the shoe fits.
A bunch of damn foreigners trying to steal my work.
Doing the best I can at it, man. Thank you for appreciating it.
Oh, I just wish you would do it better.
That's cool.
I'm just saying, I'm a bit of an expert, and when I see somebody doing it poorly, it's just sort of like, I could do this so much better.
Well, I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy, but, it's ideas or opinions that come to mind that I want to get out. I mean, things I hear or see every day. It's, I see it, and then I hear something like, for example, the community working together, and I see the exact opposite. Of course, I want to say it. You know what I mean?
Hey, man, I hope it gets better. I hope, like I just said, I hope this wakens a lot of things up in us. And that's another thing I hope that it does, is I hope works to better. We work it better at a community. You know what I mean? Hopefully we notice, like, hey, man, people were panicky little bastards. We got to, like, learn to be able to work together here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we can't even have Black Friday and people are trying to elbow each other. Like, just over a TV, you know what I mean? And like now, we're hopefully once this all dies down and people get settled down, they realize that we can get a lot further if we work with each other on some shit instead of just always trying to get in front of each other online.
Agreed. I do believe this will be somewhat of an eye opener for many people, and I agree. It should, at least. I mean.
Well, I mean, listen, people can be panicky in a group, but if you fix individuals in that group's no longer panicky. You know what I mean? People can learn and they can adapt and they can grow, and we will. We're 1,000 times better than here in 2020 than we were in 1920. You know what I mean? Like, if this is 1920, we would be all the white people have all the toilet paper, and not a single black African American would have one. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it would be. Now it's 2020. We don't have problems like that. We're just buying toilet paper away from each other. Maybe when it comes to 2050, we learn to be able to share a little bit more. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah. Well, that's I'm also in the camp that I hope this is a bit of a wake-up call or I guess kind of society in general. Not just in the sense of, being less shitty to your fellow human being, but also, on the broader scale in terms of, politics, commerce and trade in general. I hope that this is going to create just sort of this is going to, I guess, sort of raise the base knowledge level on a lot of shit, because, as Nick pointed out, people are stupid, but the person isn't.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I do. I hope the same thing, by the way, John. I hope, it is a wake-up call to many people, and they do start coming together and, having some kind of moral sense. You know what I mean? I really do. Same thing. I really do.
People aren't that stupid.
There's a YouTuber that I watch. I'm not going to say any names, but you probably know who it is. But the way he ends a lot of his shows is he says, "And remember, be kind to each other, because this is all we got."
I like that.
It's true because I mean, there's been nothing in the course of human history that was born on the back of a sole person. Now, granted, we like to attribute a lot of shit to one person. Like Oppenheimer helped make the bomb. Same thing with Einstein. Uh, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin on the moon. Like, yes, these are the people who or these are the faces of these particular events, but just the amount of work that went into okay, let's just use the moon landing for an example. uh Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong taking a walk. I mean, sure, it's cool. Like, what about all the motherfuckers who had to figure out how do we, shoot something off of the face of our
Yeah.
planet fast enough to actually get away from it? All the people
Ever
who
see-
built or the shuttle, all of the tech that had to be developed just for that one mission. Like, there's been no endeavor in human history that was born on the back of one person. We only achieve things when we come together.
I agree 100%. You ever seen that one picture of the lady that wrote the coding to help get us there and her standing next to it, that all handwritten?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's like taller than her.
yeah,
Like,
that
it's insane.
giant
Nobody
stack of
knows her
paper.
name. I don't even know her name.
Yeah, I actually can't remember. I was thinking Ada Lovelace, but I know no, she was actually one of the first people who wrote machine code.
I feel bad that I don't know her name, but just so people know, I am going to learn this girl's name for the next podcast episode, and I'm going to spread her name out there a little bit more because that's impressive.
Well, like John said, I mean, there's more than just one that goes into, doing stuff to the nature of going, landing on the moon or whatever. But, they have to have some kind of face to it. And I guess it's the first step on the moon, I guess, is what you would
It's
say.
easier for us to identify it. Whether it's an accomplishment or a problem or whatever, it's so easy just to point a finger and be like, it was that person, and there it goes. You know what I mean? And that's how we're going to identify that from now on.
Everybody likes recognition.
Look at the Nazi Party, man. Like, how many people went into the million Jews that had to suffer through the Nazi regime over in Europe, and only person that gets a face put to that is Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, there would be no Hitler if he didn't have his goons underneath him listen to all of his fucking words.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But we just like to point that as Hitler. Hitler's like the ultimate bad guy.
Here, I'm gonna do you one better. The person we were talking about was Margaret Hayfield Hamilton. She was the software engineer that developed the onboard flight software for NASA's Apollo program. So Margaret Hayfield Hamilton.
Thank you very much, John.
I'm sorry. Oh yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, she was. There was also like a little article that I read about her too, man. And, like, that's just impressive, and the fact that she was. I don't consider my memory to be like fantastic, but I definitely do not remember learning about her in school when I was learning about the moon landings, and that's kind of a crime.
Right. And this is actually something that it was an argument that I heard recently, not connected to NASA or anything, but certainly computers, specifically video games, something I've, got a great interest in. And the fact that for the amount of people that it takes to actually produce a video game, typically we only attribute things to, one or two names. Case in point, Hideo Kojima. Playing the Hideo Kojima name, he has blasted his name on that like it's spunk on a cheerleader's back. Exactly. And some people say, "Oh, he's a sellout. Oh, he's just trying to be famous." And yeah, there is part of that, and there are arguments related to the video game industry that are not conducive to what we're trying to do here right now. But it's just, I guess, kind of something worth pointing out that, like, okay, take a game like Metal Gear Solid, any of them. That was not, just Kojima sitting there, coding shit. No, that was teams of 100+ people.
Yeah. And just like, Yeah, you're right about that game, man. They just like everything and anything to do with that game. Like all you heard was that guy's name just plastered everywhere, and it got jammed down my throat so damn much that I avoided that game at all costs because of that. And now I love that guy. I love the games he's created, but I ain't gonna buy it just because you guys wanted to jam it down my throat every 5 seconds.
I never got into Metal Gear Solid as much as others. I mean, I did recently. I can't remember the newest one, what it was called, but that was a game. But the older
no, he didn't play 5. He played 4.
Well, you said the newest one. Do you mean Metal Gear Survive?
No, he didn't. No, he didn't know that Metal Gear. They came out with a new one.
Oh.
What he played was Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the one. Guns of the Patriots. That was the one. I never really got into that game too much until recently. I played that one. That was pretty cool, but I didn't like the older ones as much. I used to watch Andrew play when we were younger at our grandparents when we lived there for a while. I used to watch him play it all the time. I never really liked it. Same thing as your guys' stupid-ass Bloodborne and Dark Souls. I just
whoa, blasphemy. Stupid ass my fucking ass.
Yeah, go Dungeons and Dragons somewhere else, okay?
Oh, man, you better say some Hail Marys to From Software for that one, buddy.
You, sir, get fucked. Just take the biggest black dildo you can find out of your girlfriend's toy chest and just right up your ass.
You might probably going to have to edit that out of this podcast.
Nope. It's staying in, damn it.
At least the black.
Did you just say toy chest?
Yes, toy chest. Oh, okay, it could be under the mattress or something, but let's face it, we've all got hidey holes for shit.
Just not them.
That's another thing that this coronavirus is like affecting majorly too, man. There's a bunch of games that I'm looking forward to getting released, and all of them are going to get pushed back. Buy myself a physical copy of the game because of this damn virus.
I'm actually looking forward to The Last of Us 2 coming out.
That's one that's got pushed back because of it.
Did it get pushed back?
Oh, I'm pretty certain I've seen. So I bet. Actually, you guys might want to check that one on me and make sure I'm not blowing smoke out of my ass because that could have just been clickbait.
I mean, it's likely, but I mean, I would have figured at this point it would have been in post-production.
May 29th.
Yeah, I didn't follow anything on The Last of Us, so if that sounds right to you, Andrew.
Okay, it was just clickbait bullshit. Now watch tomorrow or the next day, the news is going to come out that it's got pushed back, and I'm not going to believe it.
Well, I mean, it's entirely possible, especially if you're, if you're trying to get a physical copy of it. Most of the shit I do is honestly digital downloads, so.
There's some games that I just need a physical copy for. I mean, from obviously my Soulsborne games are one of those, but I've waited so flippin' long to play The Last of Us 2, and I just want a physical copy of it. You know what I mean?
Here's what it is, guys. I got it. It was initially due to release on February 21st of this year. However, it was pushed back to May 29th due to the pandemic.
What's the source?
The source is here, techradar.com.
Was it pushed back because of the coronavirus, or was it just pushed back because they fell behind?
It doesn't say that, honestly. It just says it was pushed back to May 29th.
I would say probably based on the timing, it was more like that's it. They didn't think they could meet that release window, especially again, off the topic of the coronavirus, but there's been a lot of stink being raised in the video game industry about working conditions because like QA testers are basically treated like dog shit. People are required to work stupid hours. Like there was some developer, I don't remember who, but he was on there boasting that his people were working 100-hour weeks trying to get this game, or it was for Red Dead Redemption 2 that Rockstar devs are working like 100 hours a week, and it's just sort of like, my dude, you can't do that. That's not good for a human being.
Yeah, that's criminal, dude.
Yeah.
They usually should be locked up for doing some shit like that. 100 hours a week is just criminal.
So there's been a lot of stink being raised about working conditions in the game industry. Although, I guess kind of using that but diverting from it, like, how have you guys been affected personally by this? I mean, my state's shut down, your guys' state shut down. Other than just the initial difficulties with working, have you guys really kind of found anything in life more difficult or become more difficult due to the coronavirus?
First thing is first, our state is actually not shut down. There are a couple counties in our state that are shut down, but not the entire state. Actually, our county's still up and running for. I played golf yesterday, put it that way.
No.
Okay.
When it comes to is it affecting our lives, I know everybody's still working. I actually took the initiative. I started to work from home. Thank God I work over the telephone, so I can do that. Has it affected me any other way so far? Not really, because in my industry, I do taxes, actually tax mitigation. And I actually had a really good week last week when it comes to total money in and new deals and just overall clientele. So it hasn't affected me like you would think, but I know Andrew, his shop shut down, even though he took off for a couple of days anyways. But other than that, it really hasn't affected us one bit.
Yeah, I mean, you take out the fact that I can't buy toilet paper or meat, everything's fine. That's about it, man. The toilet paper thing is just the only thing that's really a pain in the ass because me and my girlfriend have to go on Facebook just to try to find toilet paper because we can't. As soon as we go up to Publix or like any kind of grocery store or anywhere to buy toilet paper around here, as soon as we get there, the toilet paper's gone. You know what I mean? And I'm not about to camp out in front of Publix all night just to buy one roll of toilet paper. I ain't doing all that.
So, John,
I'd rather wipe my ass with a leaf.
So, John, since your state is on lockdown, why don't you tell everybody how it is affecting you?
Well, my job got shut down, which I work in pesticide application and lawn care. I work for a major company in that. I won't mention any names, but you've probably posted about on Facebook about how they killed your lawn. I'll just leave that one lying there. That said, uh, you see a lot of the roads are basically dead. There were 3 days that I was working because we thought we could get away with some bullshit right up before the governor said cut your bullshit. But like there's nobody on the roads, and there are gas at gas stations. I actually went to get gas this morning. Fucking there are glove dispensers where the windshield wiper shit used to be. Uh, I see a lot of cops rolling around. I did see one guy pulled over. I don't know what for, but I mean, it is what it is. Like it's kind of the thing on everybody's mind. Like even just casual conversations here or there are all concerned about the pandemic. Now, I won't say that anything has gotten a lot more difficult per se, other than like sourcing meat, toilet paper, other essential shit like that. I can't find fucking deodorant either. Like, and
You stinky ass motherfucker.
it is. I'm sitting here like smelling like fucking onions and shit, taking a shower every day, and it's still just sort of like.
You raggedy bitch.
You raggedy bitch. But like even if people are, I guess the general attitude here is really settled in that this is something we kind of need to clamp down and get over. Not in the sense of, oh, it's not a big deal, just just fucking do it. Just more in the sense of, okay, why don't we be above board on a bunch of shit first, and that'll help us roll the shit over.
I agree.
I guess there is kind of a proactive attitude behind it, at least up in southeastern Michigan.
Okay, well, hopefully none of that happens here because I don't want to go short on deodorant.
I'm just saying, if y'all got a bar of Old Spice lying around somewhere, if you could just ship that up to Michigan.
I got you, bro.
We'll see what we can do for you, buddy.
Even though you can go on Amazon and get it shipped there as well, so either way.
Hey, why would I pay for something I could get for free? No, I'm not a thief anymore.
That's funny. You're part of the problem then, John.
Hey, no, I haven't stolen anything recently.
That's funny. All right, so I do want to end this podcast on a good note here, guys. I want everybody to know to stay safe. John, please make sure you follow some rules at least. Don't go out stealing deodorant on us, please. If you absolutely need it, just give us a call. We'll send you some. Not a big deal there. But yes, everybody stay safe, behave, be friendly. Please subscribe and give us any kind of reviews that you can. Good reviews, hopefully. And until next time, this is JNA Podcast.
All right. 3, 2, 1, off.
All right. I didn't end it as good as I wanted to.